Yes, I'm Jeffrey Edward Epstein.
Have you ever been convicted of a crime?
Yes.
Epstein got away with his crimes because nearly every element of society allowed him to get away with them.
This morning, we're learning new details of the exact cause of death of former registered sex offender and financier Jeffrey Epstein.
The greatest threat to people put in solitary confinement is they try to kill themselves. Imagine that. You're only in a room for 24 hours, you start to go crazy.
Fairly intense, right? You see, what you just saw was a trailer back from 2021 of Steve Bannon's up-and-coming documentary that never came out. And it's titled The Monsters, Epstein's Life Among the Global Elite. But basically, Steve Bannon had a 16-hour sit-down interview that he captures on video, obviously, right? And this interview has yet to be released to the public. And he did this interview, I believe, back in 2018 and 2019. And here we are now in 2025. And nobody's actually seen this documentary. Now, here's the kicker. Is suddenly we get the announcement that, hey, this thing is about to be released next year. This is a huge announcement. Now, what's interesting, right? And I'm going to get into all of this information, but what's interesting is this announcement comes out that suddenly we're going to have this footage potentially on Jeffrey Epstein. I don't know what's in it, but I got some ideas that I'm going to share with you, right? And then literally right after that, we get the big announcement from Tulsi Gabbard about Barack Obama igniting a coup against Donald J. Trump. It's like all these bombshell stories coming out all at the same time. Why? Well, there's a lot to answer regarding that. But as a quick reminder, please make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. Hit that sub button and make sure you go all the way up to the bell. Otherwise, they won't notify you. And also make sure you hit that like button. And more importantly, get on over to Restricted Republic. I have expanded for one more day. I'm actually ending it by tomorrow. I'm not going to offer this anymore, but you can get Restricted Republic for $3.99 per month. Use the coupon code Lisa to get it for that. I've got so much inside information that you are not getting anywhere else, and you can get it on Restricted Republic. We've got exclusive content, but you can get this for less than a cup of coffee or a glass of wine. So go to restrictedrepublic.com now and check that out. But with that, let's dive into this stuff with Steve Bannon, because one has to ask, why the hell has it taken so long for Steve Bannon to drop this? And why now, right? So check this out. This is on zerohedge.com. Curiosity mounts over Bannon's 15 hours, it's 15 hours plus, of Epstein interviews. The article goes on. With the Trump administration under fire from angry conservatives demanding the release of the federal government's information about Epstein, increasing attention is turning to a trove that's in private hands. Steve Bannon's 15 plus hours of videotaped interviews with Epstein. These interviews took place between 2018 and 2019. That's prior to Epstein's July 6th arrest on traffic charges, and that eventually led to his death in New York City jail. But after the Miami Herald put a new spotlight on Epstein's manipulation of the justice system after he was first investigated for those crimes, right? In 2005, with the Herald tracking down scores of his victims. So this is all before some of that even happened. He managed to grab the interview back in 2018 and 2019 in a 2021 trailer, which is the trailer. I showed you half of the trailer at the beginning of this video. It was released promoting an upcoming Bannon co-produced documentary. So it is co-produced. It wasn't just him. It was co-produced. And it's called The Monsters, Epstein's Life Among the Global Elite. So changing my early statement there, he was the co-producer. But anyway, it includes snippets from the interviews with him and Epstein. However, nearly 4 years later, the document has yet to be released. Bannon says we can expect to see it early next year, right? It goes on. According to Epstein's brother, Mark Epstein, the interviews were part of Bannon's effort to salvage Epstein's ruined public image. Interesting. Bannon told me he has like 15 or 16 hours of videotape of Jeff. He was trying to help Jeff rehabilitate his reputation. Interesting. Mark Epstein told NBC News they spent a lot of time together. In fact, Mark Epstein, and I'm going to go back to this article here, but on NBC News, Mark Epstein dropped this very recently. And by the way, this was published July 18th, just 2 days ago, on the same day that we got the information from Tulsi Gabbard. But NBC News, let me see the videotape. Mark Epstein wants Steve Bannon's 15 hours of unseen footage of his brother. So he's out there also calling for this footage. Hey, I want the footage. And he's saying that in that footage, it's, Bannon and company trying to rehabilitate Jeff's reputation. Maybe that's why the footage never came out. But as you saw, it's interesting in that 2018, 2019 video clip that you saw, Jeffrey Epstein makes the comment that people who are in a cell like that for a very long time go mad and go crazy and they try to commit suicide. Interesting. Seeing where we're at. Hey, who knows? But it is weird that those are the very words that came out of Epstein's mouth. Maybe the video footage will have information on that. Maybe he'll name names, but I really doubt we're going to get any names because from what Mark Epstein is saying, the brother of Jeffrey Epstein, it's more like he was trying to salvage his reputation. And now everybody's calling for this information to be released. But here's what Bannon said last week, okay? We're going to release the film, the 5-part series next year, early next year. Bannon said last week when he asked about the documentary status, you're going to have to name names and you're going to have to understand how the elites of the world, but also the intelligence services are inexplicitly linked in the Epstein story. That's the key. So he's telling us in this documentary, it's about the intelligence services being linked with the global elite of the world and them having that bond with, I guess, Epstein somewhere in the center of it. So why didn't he release this already? Why bring up the information? And that's good. And Steve Bannon has been one on the forefront calling for the release of the files.
The way out of here and to avoid more rupture at the Justice Department and more rupture for the FBI is a special. That's why I said it at first. Yes, you could have Dan Bongino resign or Pam Bondi resign and do all this, but what you're going to have is turmoil. What we want to do immediately, I think, is not upend FBI and DOJ. We need to get to the bottom of Epstein because Epstein is the key that picks the lock.
So we need to get to the bottom of the Epstein files. It's the key, he says, that picks the lock. So all of this comes out, and bang, a new distraction comes out from Jeffrey Epstein. Take a look at this. And by the way, Justice Knight did a huge report on my channel yesterday about this entire thing. I encourage you to watch it. Obama never saw him coming. If you didn't get the notification, there it is. I am notifying you, and you guys can check that out there on YouTube. But anyway, in a nutshell, this comes out, and maybe it is a distraction, maybe it's not being used as a distraction, but you've got information on Obama being released about Trump. You've got Bannon and Epstein all going on about at the same time with this new video that sheds potentially brand new evidence that could threaten or shed reality. You know what I'm saying? And then we have this, and to put this in a nutshell, I love what Tulsi Gabbard says here. She goes, Americans will finally learn the truth about how the 2016 intelligence was politicized and weaponized by the most powerful people in the Obama administration to lay groundwork for what was essentially a year-long coup against President Donald J. Trump, subverting the will of the American people and undermining our democratic republic. And she puts this picture, and in a nutshell, I'm going to make this as simple as I can. We have intel that said Russia and criminal actors did not impact the U.S. election. And they said there were no results, nothing happened. Russia did not interfere in our election using cyber attacks or anything. Well, that information was pushed aside. We're not going to pay attention to that. They had multiple things saying that Russia wasn't interfering in the election. They scrapped it. They hid it. They shelved it. Out comes Obama, and he says, let's have this meeting. And so Obama gets together this secret meeting regarding Russia election interference that didn't happen. And then they kick off this entire deep state leaks to the media. The media gets the information, starts running with how Donald Trump was the whole Russia narrative hoax. Donald Trump had help from Russia in the election and the whole 9 yards. They kicked that off with one secret meeting by Obama. The minions in the media ran with it, and so did the minions at the intelligence community. That's the whole thing in a nutshell, right? And that picture says it all. You had the information that nothing was going on with Russia and the U.S. election. That didn't matter. They instead decided to scrap that and make up their own story. That is what is happening here, right? And Obama is dead square at the center of it with this secret meeting that they held at the executive office, right? And so all of this is coming out at the same time, but and Donald Trump's been all over it. He's been sharing it. Tulsi Gabbard has been coming out on his Truth Social page, but nothing about Bannon, by the way, and the footage. But again, I guess ultimately here's the deal: why is Bannon waiting? Why did Bannon release it now? Why does it always seem that when new information comes out about Jeffrey Epstein, some other story is out to cover it up? It's almost like the whole world is against it. Even Nancy Pelosi came out and said, and this is on both sides of the fence. I love Donald Trump. He's good. He's just making some issues in this, and I support him. But even Nancy Pelosi came out and said, basically agreed with Trump regarding Epstein. I'm like, this is weird, right? There's something going on here. But anyway, wanted to bring all of that to you. Thank you guys so much for listening. I'm Lisa Haven, signing out.